Hello everyone, we are going to look at example A, deposit ETH from the layer 1 into the layer 2. I have two terminals open and we are going to spin up our Supersim. There we go, and we can see we have our accounts, we have the private keys for those accounts, and then we have our different chains. We have our layer 1, and then we have a layer 2, and then another layer 2. We can see all these and the very important RPC URLs that these are currently running on. So let's go ahead and go to step 1. Check the initial balance on the L2. So we're going to look at how much they have on our layer 2 by using this command. Let's take a look at it. We have cast. This is our keyword for interacting with Supersim. Balance, we're going to check the balance of this address, which we can see is just the first account that we have here, 2266, 2266. And then we need to specify on what layer, on which chain. So we give it the RPC URL 9545. And then we can check and we can see that that is our layer 2. Let's go ahead and run that and we can see this is our balance. And again, we can change this RPC URL. We can check on our layer 1. And then we can also check on the second layer 2 that we have running. So right now, these are all the same. Let's move on to step 2. We're going to call the bridge ETH function on the L1 standard bridge proxy contract. This lives on the layer 1, and we're going to initiate a transaction by using this command. Let's take a look at it. Again, we have cast, our keyword for interacting with Supersim, and now we're going to send. We're going to send to this address. You can check in here and you won't find this address because this is the L1 standard bridge proxy contract. That's where that lives, at that address. And then we're going to call this function in that contract, bridge ETH, and we have two parameters which we're going to pass right here. So we send to this contract and this function within that contract, and we pass these two variables for this function. Then for the message, we want to pass a value. We use this flag value and we say right now 0.1 ether. You can change that to whatever you want, 1 ether, 0.01 ether, whatever. And of course, we need to specify our RPC URL. So we're calling this contract that lives at this, on this chain rather. And of course, because we are sending ether, we need a private key to verify this transaction. And we can see the private key ending in FF80, FF80. This corresponds to our first account. So let's go ahead and run that. And there we go. We get a lot of data. We can look through this later, but we can see that this transaction went through. So let's continue on to step 3. We want to check the balance on the layer 2. So again, this is actually the same command that we ran in the first step. But of course, now it's going to be different because we just sent from our layer 1 to our layer 2. And there you go. You can see right there, we now have an additional 0.1 ether. And then we can also check on our layer 1. We can see that that has gone down. And we can also check on our second layer 2, which should not have changed. It hasn't changed because we haven't interacted with that chain yet. So that will be for a future video, but that is step 1 in our Supersim documentation.